I'm live in the studio with Sean Michael Samaru from Millionaire Mindset Magazine.
Thank you, Jason. So we're starting a new podcast, basically to support, but also to complement the Millionaire Mindset Magazine. The Millionaire Mindset Magazine was founded in September of 2018, and it's a monthly magazine, and we circulate across Durham region to leaders. So we publish stories of influencers, those people who are influencing society. And the reason for the name of the magazine, of course, is we believe in the abundance mindset, that we progress best in life if we have a mindset of abundance rather than a mindset of just surviving, for example.
So what was the inspiration to start the magazine?
Okay, so I have a startup company which we're innovating on books and reading and writing. And the startup company, for 2 years, we tried to raise money in the innovation community, and it wasn't happening. So my background is journalism and publishing. So we started a magazine initially as a cash flow business on the side to promote the startup which we were taking to the stock market. However, the magazine has taken on a life of its own. We've been interviewing mayors across the region and business people, CEOs and MPs and MPPs, and it's become quite an influential media in its short time, and it's very, very surprising to me, but also happily surprising, the progress we're making with the magazine so far. The goal is that we would not only publish a printed magazine, we also have the online version, but we also want to build an entire platform around the idea that people in Oshawa, in Whitby, in Curtis, in Bowmanville and Ajax and Pickering and all over the Durham region, that we want to inspire people to be storytellers, tell your story, live for, and there's a reason for it which I will elaborate on, but we want to inspire people to get out there and tell their stories in all formats, in videos, pictures, audio. Podcast is now a very, very popular means of not only marketing but also connecting with, for example, business coaches and stuff. A lot of people are using podcasts, so this is exciting. And so we've built a team, including Jason and his team that he's working with, and the team is working to develop, actually we've already developed a multimedia platform we call M3 Creatives, and it's a brand new company, and we are setting out to tell stories across the spectrum, multimedia, so videos, pictures, audio, text, not only in terms of books and writing in a magazine and stuff, but also dramatic plays and different ways that we can tell inspiring and playful stories.
So what you're telling me is that every angle of the multimedia industry is covered in this group.
Yes, okay, here's the thing, Jason. We live in a transition time, and this idea excites me tremendously, and I've been talking to the leaders across the region about this idea, which is there's an end of an age that we're living through, which is the end of the industrial age. The industrial age started around 1900, 1904, 1908, around then. Mm-hmm. And the big symbol of the industrial age, of course, was Henry Ford's car company in the United States. We saw that in Oshawa with Robert McLaughlin's car company, also around 1908, starting up in Oshawa with a grant from the Oshawa City Council back then, 100 plus years ago, for $50,000, and he set up his plant, which he eventually sold to GM. And GM's mandate, their contract, if you will, was for 100 years. That 100 years came to an end in 2018. And that 100 years is basically an end of the industrial age. So when we saw in Oshawa, for example, huge national story across Canada, that GM was closing, putting more than 2,000 people out of a job. A lot of people were freaking out, including the mayors and the MPs and leaders and industry leaders. But we have to understand that we are coming to the end of the industrial manufacturing age, and a new age is starting, which we'll talk about and which we are all about. For example, today I was interviewing the mayor of Clarington. Fascinating character, Adrian Foster, and he was saying that the laws in Clarington and even in the province of Ontario prevent any kind of business from investing in a big way unless those businesses are characterized as industrial or manufacturing. And so somebody came with a big idea for a hotel close to the 401 in Clarington, I think in Curtis or somewhere, and the project had to be torn down because they didn't...
wasn't manufacturing.
Exactly, or
Oh, my
industrial,
goodness.
which they lost hundreds of jobs.
Right.
But if somebody came in with a manufacturing plant and say we want to put a plant in this on this land, which is now automated, so they would employ maybe 10 people and the rest of it would be robots, they could get the license to do it. And so we're living in this age, Jason, of a transition from the industrial manufacturing age into what is called the knowledge society. So globally, we see a new emerging thing happening, which is disrupting a lot of stuff. And we're facing it in Oshawa, we're facing it in Durham region. We're on the cusp of a brand new age, which is the knowledge society. And this is what the Millionaire Mindset magazine is all about. This is what the abundance mindset is about. It's what creativity is about. So what we want to do is take the photographer and the videographer and the audio producer and the DJ and these creative souls who are, and the graphic designers and the writer, who are people basically now suffering to make a living despite their tremendous skills and talent and everything. Even the music industry, unless you get really, really big, you don't even make a living anymore. So the creative content producing side of society is basically not doing well, despite the fact that we're entering the knowledge age when content and inspiring stuff and stories, that's the currency of the day.
So how does one prepare themselves for the age of knowledge?
So, okay, so what I'm finding out, personally we can do a lot on our own, but it's a struggle. It's a hard thing to do. What I find is there's a whole necessity for sensitizing and bringing to awareness the leaders of society to this fact that we are transitioning into the knowledge age. And it's not just theoretical stuff, because one of the biggest companies, in fact all the big companies in the world, the biggest, richest guys in the world are now running knowledge companies. Netflix is a knowledge company. Google's ambition, their goal, their stated business goal, as we see in a book that was published called The Googleization of the Planet. This book stated the goal of Google is to control all the knowledge of humanity.
I would say they're not far off.
They're doing everything, including automated cars and stuff like that. And then Amazon, we see the same thing. Amazon is all about books and controlling knowledge, and Microsoft is exactly the same way. So we see these big companies moving in this direction, even Facebook. And what is going on with that, Jason, interestingly, is there's a change of the economics of life. So these companies are giving a lot of the stuff they do for free to the public.
Right.
Google search and everything is free. Gmail and everything. Facebook, it's free to use it. Netflix is a subscription-based service. Amazon, you could even publish book and everything on Amazon for free.
Right.
So the model is changing into a subscription, which is what the artists used to do, a royalty model of economics.
Okay.
And so what the knowledge age is all about, and what we're about, is to build ourselves as a team to bring inspiring stories. We want to tell the stories of people of influence, the leaders of society, the ones who shape society, who define our future, who create the way for us to live, our culture, our economics, our social fabric. We want to tell the stories of these people in a way that society is moving in the direction of a knowledge society. But we also want to influence those leaders to start thinking out of the box, disruptively, innovatively, from an industrial manufacturing mindset into a mindset that instead of scarcity, we have an abundance of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, inspiring stuff. You see, here's the thing, Jason. We are still people sitting around the fireplace telling stories.
Right.
Like happened back in the day with the cavemen. Of course, now the fireplace is electricity. And the stories we're telling it's on the internet.
Right.
So we sit around the electric devices like screens, for example, phones, computers, that kind of thing, and we tell stories. Netflix is all about telling stories. Facebook is all about friends telling each other stories every day. Whatever you post, it's a story. Instagram is the same thing. And so this concept of we're story people, human beings are of stories. That's what we're all about. And so what this podcast is setting out to do is to create that awareness, bring people to an understanding, but also deep sensitivity, because these things people know, but it's not brought to the surface. We want to bring it to the surface. And the gist of what we're about, the one-liner that we're about, is that each human being is an author of his or her life story.
Right.
So that's what the podcast is going to be about. We are going to have a whole series on this, and the series is going to deal with one particular thing, which is, if we are storytellers and we are authors of our own life story and life story of society, then there are certain elements of story that if we need to build our story into success stories, into bestsellers, so to speak, we deal with elements of story. For example, one element of a story is always conflict.
Right.
In life, there will be conflict. There will be challenges. There will be obstacles. There will be failures. It's an element of story. How do we deal with a story is moving along a linear line? You have beginning, middle, and end, and then somewhere in the middle, somewhere there's a conflict shows up. How does the character deal with it? We author our life in a way that we overcome the obstacle, we go under it, we go around it, we do whatever, but we see it for what it is. It's only an obstacle. It's only a challenge. Nothing for us to freak out about, nothing to dominate us. We dominate it. We lead.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. So this is what the podcast is setting out to do. And we would welcome all kinds of feedback, of course. And I would very much like to emphasize that the podcast is a business endeavor from the Millionaire Mindset magazine, and also from a team of people, awesome creative people in Oshawa. And we want this creative team, which is branding ourselves as M3 Creatives, and it's a company. We want to be the premier creative team for content, for multimedia content throughout the Durham region and eventually beyond Durham region. But we want to be blazing this new trail towards the knowledge society. And one thing my own company is setting out to do, which is Qualpet Corporation, and one day we'll talk about that, we are talking to different mayors, seeing who would bite and who would really work with us and partner with us to make one of the cities in Durham region a knowledge city.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we have big plans and we have big dreams, but if we don't have big plans and big dreams, life becomes boring, right?
Absolutely. So for our listeners who maybe haven't read your magazine yet, tell us who you've interviewed so far.
Oh, wow. We've interviewed some quite interesting people. Mayor Sean Collier from Ajax, Mayor Dan Carter from Oshawa, Mayor Adrian Foster from Clarington, Member of Parliament Colin Carey. In terms of business people, Ray Rosuli from Canna Peace Corporation, one of the biggest cannabis investor in Pickering and in Bowmanville right now. Mm-hmm. We've interviewed Tariq Rana, who is a businessman in Ajax doing amazing things. Who else? Pramila Ramdani, who runs Community iLab. We've interviewed quite a few people, high profile business people, amazing stuff they're doing. Garth Johns, for example, at BIA in Oshawa. We've interviewed, who else? Don Terry, who is co-chair of the Parag Games, now going on in Pickering, started today.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're doing amazing stuff. It's very inspiring to us, and it's sad, really, when we think about the GM situation and how Oshawa was built and how Oshawa is today, to see not only Oshawa but across Durham region that the leaders and the laws and even the thinking, the mindset is all about industry and mortar and cement and steel. and manufacturing, when we should be preparing our next generation, as is happening at UOIT and Durham College with their AI hub and their technology programs and their innovative degrees that they have,
Yes.
robotics and all those things. Those people coming out with PhD in robotics, for example, or somebody finishing a degree in AI from the AI school at Durham College, they can't come out in Durham region and get a job. There's nowhere doing robotics.
Right.
So we need to start changing our mindset and get the leaders to do that. And that's what we're all about. But of course, it's a business, and so we want to change how people experience life and their quality of life in the Durham region. We don't want to be hearing stories from Hollywood and different places. Let's do our own movies, our own documentaries, our own
Definitely.
books. Let's have a book industry in Durham region where people can publish their
Yes.
stories, and easily. It's so easy to do today for somebody to write a book and publish it. Why aren't we giving incentives for those industries, those creative industries, which is human capital and intellectual property and knowledge asset that every single human being possesses? I want to say one more thing, Jason. Mayor Dan Carter of Oshawa, who we interviewed, is unique as a person because he knows both sides of Oshawa. He knows South End Oshawa,
Yes.
which has tremendous social challenges, and he knows the North End Oshawa, which is affluent and doing quite well.
Right.
Because he came from both worlds, he knows what that means to live in both worlds. And Oshawa has always had this challenge: how do we deal with the social situation in the South End? We can easily deal with the situation, and I have friends who are actually homeless and live on the street. Through our church, we do a lot of outreach to Cornerstone and places like that. And these people tell me their stories. I love listening to stories. So they tell me their stories. And these are people who don't have food. They have to go to food banks. They don't have clothes. They have to get clothes from places that they could,
Yeah.
would give them clothes. They don't have housing. So a lot of them are homeless. A lot of them they don't have family. They don't have friends. They're alone in life. But they have one thing, which is their story.
Right.
And we can teach them. We can take their story, and we can convert those stories into, which is so easy with technology and the internet today, into books, into videos, into podcasts, into music. And we can turn those people's story, no matter whatever they're going through in life, into intellectual property. Put it online, and they're making money.
Excellent.
This is what we're about.
That's beautiful. So for our listeners who would like to learn more, where can they follow us on social media and find some content?
So the website is based at the magazine, is based on the website qualped.com, QUALPED.com, and you see the Millionaire Mindset tab. Just click on it, and there is the magazine. I think we are still putting together M3 Creative's website, but also we have doingthemusic.com, which is Jason's website.
Yeah, follow us at Doing the Music on all forms of social media. We'll be posting updates regularly there. Follow us at doingthemusic.com, and as Sean mentioned, check out the website for the Millionaire Mindset magazine.
Yeah, qualped.com, QUALPED. And please be a fan of our website. We are setting out to build something really amazing, really awesome, really inspiring, and we want to change the mindset of Oshawa. No longer should people think there's scarcity of GM or scarcity of jobs. If you're out of a job, you have a story. If you're struggling with any kind of mental health or any kind of illness, you have a story. It's a story. Put
Yes.
it in a book, put it in music. Come to Jason's studio, put together a song, get people, collaborate with the right people, and let's do what people are doing. A lot of young people are doing these things on Facebook, on YouTube,
Yes.
becoming millionaires. And on not everybody would be a millionaire. I think everybody could be a millionaire, but reality is, and Instagram. So if you take your story and map it well on Instagram with a little bit of research, it's easy to find out how to do that. And also YouTube. Just get a YouTube channel and tell your story constantly. You'd be amazed how many people would follow, and eventually that would be converted into cash, into money.
Absolutely. And as the father of a 6-year-old, I can tell you there's some very surprising things that get millions and millions of views on YouTube. That,
Oh yeah.
you know, so as Sean mentioned, don't be afraid to put your story on there because you never know who's willing to watch.
There are two stories I want to mention. Two people out of Brampton who built YouTube channels, and now there are actually 3 people. There is Rupi Kaur.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the other person who is kind of and you know, this kind of poetry is very free in my literary background. To me, that's not poetry, but it's selling millions and millions and millions. And these people like Rupi Kaur and Russell Peters as well.
Mm-hmm.
These people use social media to become international stars.
Yes.
And so everybody can do that. They are not special, is my point. None of us is special. I publish a magazine, but I'm not special.
I think you're special.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. We can all do this because of the simple fact that we live in the knowledge age where technology is at a fingertip. My son is 11 years old, turning 12 on Valentine's Day, Prince, and he is such an expert on gaming with Roblox and Fortnite, and he's only 12 years old. He was doing this since he was 10 years old.
Absolutely.
So this thing is so easy for us to do. We live in an age of enormous individual empowerment, and we want to make that happen. We want people to believe it and just go out there and do it.
So it's all very possible. It's all within reach. And to quote Teresa Shaver from the BACD, you can do it in Durham.
Excellent. Yes.